It's my honor to recognize the Reverend Dr. Ruby Reese Moone, who's retiring as the Black Minister's Chaplain at the University of Maryland. I'd like to tell you a few things about this remarkable woman who has dedicated her life to two truly noble missions: empowering and providing guidance to generations of students and fighting racism and bigotry wherever it's found. And I've been so honored to call her a friend and a mentor for the last 20 years now, I think, right? We all know you can't summarize someone's illustrious life in just the few minutes we have here, but I'll do my best. The Reverend Moone was one of 10 children born 80 years ago to poor sharecropper family in tiny Sparta, Georgia. They had no plumbing and no electricity. She could not go to her segregated school one entire school year. Instead, had to help her family pick and chop cotton. She had to walk 7 miles to school along with other African-American students, even though the school bus had plenty of room for black students and would pass them by trying to splash them with red mud if it was raining. She and other black students had to use textbooks already used by the white students. Still, because she was smart, she skipped a couple of grades. Her brother in the Army helped her go to college, where she majored in sociology and social work, and had a very successful professional life as well. In Georgia, she met her late husband, Dr. Jim Moone, who was, once they moved up here, were longtime residents of Lincoln Park in Rockville. After she and her husband moved to Maryland, Ruby became a guidance counselor at Poolesville High School, where she launched the county's first high school career center, a model other county schools later copied. At Gaithersburg High, Reverend Moone started the BOSS program, the Brotherhood of Superstars, focusing on helping male African-American students reach their potential. Later, she worked at Wooten High in Rockville, and more recently, she's been the Black Minister's Chaplain at the University of Maryland, a position from which she's now retiring. But I want to highlight her civil rights work. Reverend Dr. Moone has been an inspirational figure for a long time. She and her late husband, Jim Moone, were charged by Dr. King with helping to organize the March for Jobs and Freedom in Washington, 1963. First starting to organize it in Georgia, where they lived, and then moving to Maryland several weeks before the march itself. She also participated in the march on the day of Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama in 1965, and then she continued to work alongside Dr. Martin Luther King at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference for years, and was the organization's Maryland state president for many years, which is when I met her. She's been an active member of the county's NAACP chapter, and in 2014 was inducted into the county's Human Rights Hall of Fame. And after her first retirement, she founded the Ruby Reese Moone Foundation, which helps underprivileged college students with their textbook expenses. In an interview a few years ago, Reverend Moone said that at the March on Washington, when she heard the Reverend King give his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, she thought, that was it. We just knew everything was going to be all right for us. But then she added, it's still not where it should be. And she's absolutely right. We're all not where we should be as a nation, but the Reverend Moone, as an educator and champion for human rights, has devoted her life into getting us closer to where we all need to be. We're very indebted to you for everything you've done, Ruby. We're so happy to hear about your retirement and grateful for all you've done to give us a county and a state and a nation that better lives up to our ideals. We wish you all the best in your well-earned retirement. So let me read the proclamation. Whereas the Reverend Dr. Ruby Reese Moone, born in the late 1930s to a poor sharecropping family in Sparta, Georgia, experienced firsthand the indignities of segregation in the Deep South. And whereas as a young African-American student, she walked 7 miles to get to school, and despite missing most of the school year because she had to join her family in chopping and picking cotton, she excelled academically, committed to improving her family's living conditions. The Reverend Ruby Reese Moone graduated from college and became a guidance counselor. Whereas after she and her husband, James Clark Moone, relocated to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area to teach, and the Reverend Reese Moone became a guidance counselor at Poolesville High School. Whereas to help her students succeed after graduation, she launched the first career center, which was replicated in other county high schools. She later joined the faculty at Gaithersburg and Thomas Wooten High Schools, where she continued her mission of empowering African-American students. And whereas in addition to her professional achievements, the Reverend Reese Moone has dedicated her life to civil rights activism. Pained and motivated by the discrimination she faced and witnessed as a child and throughout her life, she has worked with the NAACP and the SCLC, organizing, marching, and demonstrating against racism and bigotry. And whereas her work as chaplain for the Black Ministries at the University of Maryland, her own Christian faith, and her compassion for others will leave an indelible mark on the students and community members whose lives she touched. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby congratulates Reverend Dr. Ruby Reese Moone, on her retirement as chaplain of the Black Ministries at the University of Maryland College Park, presented this 12th day of June, the year 2018, Hans Riemer, Council President. Congratulations, Ruby. Absolutely. Have to say a few words.
Well, I guess I am supposed to say a few words. And I'm kind of thinking, what should those words be? Except to thank Councilmember Hucker and all of the council members who are here today. I am very grateful for this proclamation, very grateful for this honor. I'm so happy to have so many of my friends here, and some are in the rear. I'm going to ask you to stand. They came just a few moments late, but we're happy to have you. And then these are all my friends and my pastor who have gathered here today to be with me on this occasion. I look back over segregation and discrimination, and I join with so many people in this world, hoping that all of this will come to an end so that all of us can enjoy this world in the way that our Father would want us to enjoy it. So again, I want to say thank you so much, and I cherish this great honor.
On behalf of the People's Community Baptist Church, it certainly is my delight to express gratitude to the council for recognizing Dr. Moone's contributions and her retirement. She has played an indelible role at making Peoples who it is and keeping us where we ought to be in our spiritual focus with her sweet hour of prayer, even with the Black Ministers Conference. Keeping us focused as a praying congregation and a praying people. We're grateful as well for her determination to serve and to impact the coming generations, which she has done for these years with the University of Maryland. And so we commend her for that and commend you for taking the time to acknowledge all of her many contributions. She's a trailblazer, and she's a model of a world changer. And we're so glad that so many persons have been impacted by her and have picked up the baton to run their races in other parts of this country because of her leadership and her model. So we congratulate you, Dr. Moone, today on this recognition, and we express thanks to Councilman Hucker and to all of the council for taking the time to recognize her noble achievements.
Thank you so much.